welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree Patriotic wreath. I love this. I'm going to actually do Dollar Tree slash craft for my stash. These are just tons of ribbons I've had. Some from the Dollar Tree, some from Offray, some from Walmart, some from $14.92. I'm pretty sure that that blue, navy blue check I got before I was married. Just saying. I've got some pipe cleaner slash chenille stems slash whatever you want to call them. And we're going to use some mesh. It's 2 blue, 2 white, and 2 red of these patriotic meshes. And then this sign. Not actually that sign, because that one has a crooked star on it, but we're going to use a sign that looks just like it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this sign a little bit better. I didn't mention I'm using an 18-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree. I know that they're hard to find, so if you're only making a 14-inch wreath form, you might want to use a different sign, and you're going to need less mesh. That's all. That's my big piece of advice for you. So what I have here is some cotton. It's actually the piping that goes inside, like when you reupholster a couch and you have that great piping trim. This is the cotton that they sell to go on the inside. I've had it for 100 years. I just glued the twists closed and fed it through like it was a pretty tag. It just is really in size with that, dimension, like it's in proportion with the tag. Let's put it that way. And now I'm just gluing 2 red pipe cleaners on the back. They don't have to be red. You're not going to see them. But we're just going to put a ton of hot glue. We roll the pipe cleaners and then add more hot glue to the top. Set it off to dry and cool and really set up really well. Now, this is not any different than wreaths that we've done in the past, other than it's different materials. And I'm going to mix up the colors, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm not kidding when I tell you that I've had this black and white. It's not even black and white. It's navy blue and white buffalo check ribbon for so long that whole thing you saw me do was trying to pull the rusted T-pin out of the middle. I'm telling you, it's old, people. But I love this. This is from Offray. I did use it for one project back, again, before I was married. I was doing something for a friend's wedding and just adding like a little bow to it. So this was the leftover. It was originally 9 feet, and that's all I'm using. Just using whatever I have on there. I'm making 6-inch ribbon. I learned this technique from Amber over at this Southern Girl Can. I know you guys love Amber as much as I do, but this is very similar to the roll. It's the roll wreath technique that we've made in the past. Okay. Now this ribbon, again, super inexpensive. I got it on clearance in Walmart. It was an Offray brand, and I love the fact that it has this paisley that kind of reminds me of a handkerchief, which kind of reminds me of the 4th of July, sort of Christmas Americana stuff. I feel like it's like the bandana feel, the check feel, all the feels. This gives me all the feels. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just cutting around 6 to 7-inch pieces. With 6-inch pieces, you'll get the most. I'm actually cutting 12 of each because we're going to make 12 of each type of bundle. Now this Offray ribbon, again, I've used it in my projects in the past. It is from Walmart, again, a million years ago. It is little white polka dots on red gingham, a grosgrain ribbon. And I'm cutting them in the same length pieces. Now what I should have done, in hindsight, was to cut them each at an angle so that I wouldn't have to lose any ribbon. You cut the top at the angle, and that makes the angle for the bottom of the next piece, and so on and so forth. I should have done that instead, but I didn't. Live and learn from me, people. Live and learn. If you notice the tube that I used, I'm using that tube because that's the tube from a previous mesh ribbon that we used. And I like it because that's the exact perfect size. What I did for this, just to make a shortcut, is I wrapped it head to toe, head to toe, head to toe. And then I had to cut it all off. Don't do that. It was actually too thick for my scissor. If you have a good scissor, it'll work for you. It'll save you some time. But for me, it didn't work so much. And again, I should have cut it at an angle. Adoy. Live and learn. So for the next ribbon, I'm just going to use this, and it actually is more like off-white because my navy blue and white gingham had a little yellowing because it was so old, and I was like, okay. So I used the off-white, it's not even quite ivory, grosgrain ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut the same length of ribbons for this one as well. And again, I should have dog-eared it. Just learn from me. Cut it on an angle at the top, and it'll make the matching angle on the bottom. I'm saying, just learn from me, please. And again, I'm cutting 12 of each. So I'm cutting 12 because I'm making 12 of each bundles. And then we're going to mix and match the different ribbons. So we're going to do like red with blue, blue with white, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean. Now this ribbon is from the Dollar Tree in the baby section. It is sort of like the baby shower section. It is a light blue and royal blue sort of gingham, and I loved it. But I will tell you a secret to it. To me, it reminds me of like a paper satin ribbon, if that makes any sense to you. But I will tell you, it is super satiny on one side and super dull on the other side. So what we're going to do for our wreath is use the dull side because we like sort of that matte finish. You know, we just do. It's very farmhouse. It's very my style. If it's your style, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay. And again, we're going to cut 12 of those. And again, we should have door gauge them. I did not learn my lesson at this point, I will tell you. So the final ribbon that I decided to use, I actually was sort of contemplating still. I had two choices. What I thought I would do is I thought I would start cutting up my mesh and then see if I got inspired to do the one that I wanted or the one that I ended up picking or another one. Just because like I wasn't sure about the feel. The one that I really was leaning towards, so the one that I ended up using, is sheer and has a little bit of iridescent sparkle to it. But then I realized, and the reason I prompted to it is because when I start cutting the white mesh, I realized the white mesh does have an iridescent sparkle thread going through it. So I felt like it did work. So I ended up using that, but you'll see that in a minute. So for this, each color you're going to need 36 because each bundle has 3 pieces and we're going to make 12 bundles of each color. That's easy enough. So I ended up using a whole row plus I needed 8 from or 9 from the next roll. So we didn't need quite 2 whole rolls. But if you feel like you want a really squishy full wreath, then you can always do some rolls that don't have any ribbon on them, just to fill in if you want. I personally don't really care for the squishy wreath. A, I feel like it's extra waste of money, and B, sometimes it's just too much. You know, it's just sometimes it's just too much. So I just like, but if you like it to be too much sometimes, go for it, honestly. And this is an 18-inch wreath form that we're doing this on, so it can take a bit much. But I just felt like it didn't want to be wasteful. It looks good the way it was. Plus, a third of it's going to get covered from the tag anyway. So we're just cutting. The measurement that I'm using for this is that same roll. We're going to make them roughly a square, you know, roughly 6 inches. I think it's 5. This mesh is 5.5 inches long. We're going to make them roughly 6 inches. So that's just how, you know, just keep going. So the pipe cleaners / chenille stems. I know that there's lots of different techniques out there, but this is the one that I love, that I kind of took Amber's idea and just changed it a little bit because I'm cheap. I like to take the chenille stem and I like to fold it in thirds, and you take 4 of them and you get 12 little stems when you're done. And to me, that's all the size that I need. When you cut these like this, you don't have to cut any at the end. If you've made, I don't want to say traditional mesh wreaths, but the mesh wreath tutorial that you see in a lot of places where they actually use the whole chenille stems on the wire wreath. You put the bundle down, you twist it, and at the end you cut off all the extra chenille. To me, that's so wasteful. I mean, you know, again, it's not just about being cheap. It's also about being wasteful. But I love this. This third, like, I think they're each 12 inches, so this is like 4 inches long, is perfect. It holds the ribbon, the mesh, and still is enough to tie around the back of the wreath, and I don't have to cut it. But that's the part that I love the most. Okay? It also saves work. So this is the same technique we've done in plenty of videos. We're not going to actually watch me do this whole wreath like I normally do because I wanted to just make it a little bit slower, and I'm going to edit in and out. But what we're going to do is we're going to do roll up 1, tuck it between our index and middle finger of the left hand because I'm a righty. Roll up 2, tuck it in the same spot. Roll up 3, tuck it in the same spot. Then I'm going to take a 2-inch ribbon and on top of it put the 3/4 inch or 1-inch ribbon, depending on which color it is. And then find midway. I kind of like fold it in half a little bit and then take the chenille stem, squeeze the middle of the bundle, put the chenille stem around it, and then twist it on the back. I like to take the chenille stem and make sure it goes in the same direction as the ribbon. That makes it easier for me to tie it on later. Okay? It also makes it easier for me to not get it caught on everything when I throw them in a basket. So what I decided to do is to mix it up. I decided to do 3 that had red, white, and blue, 3 that had red, blue, and white, and 3 that had blue, red. You know what I mean? I mixed it up. You guys, why do you love me? Okay, change of plans. We're going to match the 3 bundles with the coordinating color 2-inch ribbon. So it's going to be red bundles with red ribbon, white bundles with white ribbon, and blue bundles with blue ribbon. Then we're going to make 4 of each with that tertiary accent color ribbon. Gotcha? All right. I know, I'm sorry. I feel like I can't get it together, but listen. Oh my goodness. Basically, the whole point of me telling you all of this is you can choose your own design. Okay? You're probably not going to be able to find all of these exact ribbons, but basically I'm going with red, white, and blue mesh, a 2-inch red, white, and blue ribbon, as well as a 1-inch or 3/4 of an inch red, white, and blue ribbon. And then I'm going to mix them all up. Then when we're done, we're going to take whatever ribbon's left over on the roll and we're going to go ahead and make a bow. That's really like as simple as this wreath is, but I just love the way it turned out. I'm so happy. I had a wreath that I hung on my door that I made in Homemakers that I hung, I keep my decor out all summer. I hung it for so long that this fabric got faded. I wish I could make those and show you guys how to do those. That is like the most amazing fun. We could do that. That's a sewing and wreath project. I wonder if we should do that. What do you guys think? I think you're going to all say yes. So I think maybe we'll do that. But it's just a technique you can use with any fabric. But that's a whole nother story. We'll make that another video. However, let's move on. So when it comes to doing the colored pipe cleaner that I picked, I matched the mesh. I didn't worry about matching the ribbons. I matched the mesh. Really, none of that makes a difference. You don't have to worry about it. I just had a brand new pack of chenille stems, so I was like, okay, I have the red, white, and blue ones. I might as well use them. But I wanted to just say that I purposefully made the different colors, and because there's 12, I made 3 of each variation, I think. So as you can see, this is about where the time when I'm like, oh yeah, now I know which white ribbon I want to use. This is a sheer ribbon with a iridescent swirl on it. And I will tell you that I think when I bought it, I'm not even sure if it says Christmas or Winter Wonderland, but when I was looking at it, I was like, it totally looks like fireworks, or you know what I mean? It just looks brilliant. It just looks brilliant and swirly and sparkly. And that's the one I ended up picking. And again, I think this was on clearance somewhere after the holidays, because I really very rarely, the only place I ever pay full price is at the Dollar Tree. How about you guys? So now I'm going to cut up my mesh, my white mesh, and I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to do 36. Again, I'm going to get the whole roll, the whole first roll, and then I'm going to get about 8 or 9 pieces off the second roll. Now, I'm not concerned about actually measuring them, as you can tell. I kind of, after a while you start to cut them, you kind of guesstimate how big they are. But I do like the way it looks with the variations of some being longer and tighter tubes and some being looser and, shorter and looser tubes. That to me really does add some personality to it as well. And it gives some dimension. I think if it's like all matchy-matchy and if you perfectly cut everything and you perfectly matched everything, I feel like it's just too planned. I don't know what I'm saying. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know why you love me. But listen, I kind of like to show you this whole process because when you're doing this and you're, swimming or drowning in 36 rolls of mesh and piles of ribbon, I just want you to know that you're not alone. When you improv, and that's what I'm calling this design, like improv, when you improv a design and you kind of like, it's not like you can cut your 36 pieces of blue mesh, your 36 blue ribbons, and then your 36 little blue ribbons, make all your bundles, and then cut all your reds and all your reds and all your reds. Because we're mixing and matching, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut all the different pieces. So after a while, it really can feel like a little bit crowded. So what I have done is I have set 2 baskets on the floor. Once I've done with the bundles, I throw them in the baskets by their color, because this way when I go to set it on the wreath, I can just pick the colors that I want, the red, white, and blue sections. But even that is optional. You could just randomly pick whatever colors that you want. But I usually am a little bit more particular than randomly placed items, just a little bit. I'm not so crazy and a perfectionist, however, there's certain things that I just think are more appealing to the eye. When we're going to lay these out, the wreath, the 18-inch wreath form, just like the 14-inch wreath form, and even the little wreath form, is divided up into thirds or sixths. I think this is divided up to sixths. The small wreath is divided up into thirds, and the 14-inch wreath form, I think, is also divided into sixths, which makes it easy. You're going to make, actually, is it fourths? We'll see when we get the wreath. But you're basically going to make it so that you divide them evenly amongst all the wreath rings. Okay? For this particular wreath, we're not going to, well, actually, that's the same with the other wreath we did. There is 4 rings that make up the wreath, like 4 different, there's an inner, I'll call it, the inner one is A, the second one is B, C, and the outer one is D. We're only going to use B and C. Because these bundles are so thick and big, we don't have to worry about putting anything on the inside. Now, if you did want to make it fuller and you did want to put stuff on the inside, just keep in mind the hole in the middle of your wreath is going to really be closed up. And if you're going to put a center medallion in the middle of your wreath, you're going to lose it a little bit. If you're going to use a side giant tag like this, then it's going to be okay. That's all I want to say. All right? And now we're just going to finish the last with the blue, and we're going to match the blue thing, and then we're going to dog ear these ribbons, which we should have dog eared them before, and we're going to dovetail the plaids because we should have dovetailed them before. My life has just become a lot more difficult. But I wanted to show you just to give you a sort of a behind the scenes sort of situation. Because I had so little of the blue gingham, I made my dog ear really shallow. That's what I wanted to say. So I didn't want it to be, it's not too pointy, and it's just shallow enough so that you can get the effect, but you won't lose a lot of the color. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull all the blue ones out. I have 4 blues with white, 4 blues with red, and 4 blues with blue. And this wreath form is 6 sections, and I'm going to make sure that there's 2 in each section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the ribbons red, white, and blue. But you'll see when we get to the end, that ain't going to make a difference, because then we're going to start putting the reds next to whites and whites next to reds. As long as you keep your mesh at red, white, and blue, in my opinion, that will make it look nice. So now you could go red, white, and blue. I wasn't sure which method would work, so I tried to give you both. It might work for you to do all the blues, or it might be worth it for you to do red, white, and blue. It's really up to you. But because these are odd numbers, all you have to do with the blue, or whichever color you start, and I mean odd numbers, there's 3 different colors. So if you go up, down, up, down, up, down with each color, you will eventually be up, down, up, down, up, down with each bundle, because there's odd numbers, if that makes sense. Imagine it's red, white, and blue. So if you start red up, your next one's going to be white down, blue up, and then your next one's going to be red down. So if you're just looking at your reds, you're going to go up and down. Does that make sense now? Hopefully it does. So I put on all of my blues. Again, I took those 2 center rings was all we were tying to. 2 sections per bundle. 2 bundles per section. Sure. We'll make up words as we go along. You don't mind, do you? Oh, my Lanta. And then I went ahead and I started with I added the red and whites together. So I was just like, okay, I have a blue. The next one will be red, then white, and then blue, and then red, and then white, and blue. And then I tried to mix up the other ribbon colors. Now I will tell you that there is one extra blue bundle that has a blue ribbon because I was short one red with the polka dots. I probably should have gotten something different just to blend in the color wise, but I didn't want to throw the pattern off either, so I just ended up putting that one behind the tag. That's not a big deal. Okay? Now, some people work looking at the top and twisting underneath. Some people work turning their whole bundle up, their whole wreath upside down and working from, putting the bundle underneath and twisting on the top. You do whatever feels comfortable for you. You do whatever works for you. You can see here I use a little bit of both techniques. I flip it over every once in a while to make sure that we're doing okay. Okay? And you can see as you start to add all the colors, it starts to come together. It fills out. It's got so much texture. It's got so much color and pattern. I just think it's so pretty. I'm sure that you can find a navy blue and white check ribbon because the buffalo check is popular again, which is great. And the same thing with that red paisley. That stuff is coming back in style, especially this time of year. I don't know about the sheer organza ribbon, but that might be like in a wedding section somewhere. And the other ones are just, I'm sure you can find red with white polka dots at Walmart still, because that's where I found it. And I don't think that one, it's old, but I think they still carry that one. Okay? And the Dollar Tree has their ribbons all the time, so there you go. So we'll just put on the last few bundles. I love how, like I said, I love how it comes together. As it starts to fill out, you just like, oh, this is amazing. But when you're a YouTuber and you're trying to tie on mesh bundles onto an 18-inch wreath form on your desk with your monopod, trying to stay on camera, it's rough sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, as you can well imagine. So once I have all of them tied on, we're going to go ahead and add our tag. So now I show you that in the beginning, we put the tag to measure where we were going to glue our pipe cleaners on, and I actually measured it on the left side, but we're going to end up putting the tag on the right side. But that's a matter of personal preference as well. You could also hang your tag in the middle, but I just felt it felt a little bit more natural for the tag to be like on the wreath as opposed to in the middle of the wreath. But that was just my humble opinion. I'm entitled to mine, you're entitled to yours. That's how that goes. How we do that aesthetics is different, So this is easy. I'm just taking the two pipe cleaners and I'm sticking them straight up, and I'm going into those same two areas. I'm hugging those middle two wires that hold oh my goodness, B and C. I'm doing that at the top and the bottom. So now I'm taking a blue pipe cleaner, and I'm going to take what's the rest of this blue gingham ribbon, what's the rest of the little red paisley ribbon, and I don't think it's the rest of the sheer, but it might be. I can't remember if I used the rest of the sheer ribbon. I was going to make an Olivia bow. If you guys watch Olivia from Olivia's Romantic Home, she makes the most gorgeous bows. She loves, she says, I like big bows, and I cannot lie. I'm going to link her channel as well as Amber's in the description box down below, so you guys can check them out if you haven't already. But I decided it wouldn't be me. I'd just make my bow. I'm just going to make my regular bow that I always make. The difference is I'm actually not going to tie the tails around the ribbon. I'm going to use a pipe cleaner, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm just a little shy on some of the ribbon. So I wanted to really not waste too much tying around the middle. But usually when you have enough, it's easy enough. All right. I decided to make the navy blue check the biggest color and just make the red a tiny bit narrower and make the white a tiny bit narrower than that. Actually, I think it might be red, white, and blue. I think it might be red, white, and blue. I don't think the white's in the front. I don't remember now. Let's wait to see where we put it. But as you see, I don't have enough red to make a tail. I don't have enough red to make a streamer. So I just have like a little piece left over, and we're going to just stick that in at the end. You'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do red, white, and blue. And then that last piece of red, we're actually going to make one of those like loopy things in the middle of our bow that sometimes you get at the flower shop. You know, because we can. For this particular bow, we're going to, because these are wire edged ribbons and because they're really thick, and we're going to tie it around a pipe cleaner around it, we're going to go ahead and notch the all of the ribbons in the middle. This is a little bit difficult for my arthritic hands, I will tell you, because it's cutting through all of those wires at the same time. So what I can tell you you can do is you can cut through each color at a time and just stack them back up again with their cut ends there. That works as well. Okay, and I'm not notching the tails, but you could notch the tails as well. I just felt like it's okay if I don't. So now I'm cutting the white, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut the red, and we'll stack them back up again, lining up all of their little cut marks, and then tails behind them. Now you can see I'm trying to be like, can I stick this somewhere? What can I do with this? I don't know what to do with this. Do I make a half tail? I don't know. It doesn't look right. What am I going to do? But you'll see. We end up using it in the end. I was contemplating just leaving it there, and when I twisted it and it fell out, I was like, okay, that didn't work. But now I just take the pipe cleaner and I go through all of those cuts, squeeze the middle, and just twist it around a whole bunch. Try to make the pipe cleaner as even as possible, so when you go to attach it to your wreath, you have even amounts on both sides. Okay? So now you can see what I decided to do with the red piece. I took the one end, right sides down, and I tucked it under the wire. And then I took the other end and flipped it over, right sides down, and tucked it in under the same wire on the other side. So it created a loop in the middle. Okay? And now it's just time to fluff. I wasn't sure, do I go like red up on both sides, like white in the middle, blue down, or do I mix it up? I don't know. Both ways look nice to me. When you go to fluff your ribbon, if you put the same color in the same direction, that looks nice. But also if you put the same color almost across from itself, I feel like that looks nice as well. And what I mean by that is if you're looking at your right side and your left side, if you put your right side down and your left side up, that will make the ribbon look like it's across from itself. But if you put the right side down and the left side down, that'll also make it like symmetrical. So I think both are appealing. Both look really pretty with ribbon, with bows. But you do whatever you like and whichever really looks best for you, right? I caught a video of a new YouTuber, and she was like, I just go till my eyes are happy. And I just thought that was the sweetest thing. I have to figure out who that is, and I will share her with you, I promise. But I just caught her in, like, on my automatic restart the next video feed thing. So yeah, just fluff it as you like. I actually ended up dovetailing the ends of the tails, and then I just tied it on across from the tag. You know, you can put it anywhere. I could have put it above the tag. I could have added flowers. Flowers would look pretty as well, but I just wanted to go ahead and balance it out. Normally I'm like, oh, it's too much if you use the same colored mesh as you use ribbon, but I think this time it just looks absolutely lovely. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share with friends and family. Anyone you know who might be interested in making this or seeing the techniques. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And God bless America, and God bless all of Americans, the land that we love. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.